I'm Ashton from EventChain for Investment Pitch Media and FinTech News Network. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Devon Dyrdahl, the CMO of BTCPOP. Devon, thanks so much for being on the show. It's a pleasure to have you here today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. I'm excited to learn a little bit about BTCPOP Exchange and peer-to-peer banking and lending. This is a very interesting project. First of all, if you would start, what is the main goal and the solutions that you're providing through BTCPOP?
So BTCPOP's main goal is to be a free market platform where users can borrow or lend cryptocurrency from all over the world. Peer-to-peer money has given us this borderless common money that everybody can use. And so we wanted to open that up with peer-to-peer finance where users can connect from, Asia or North America and, borrow and lend from each other. Mm-hmm. So as a free market platform, we've always thought that the market decides best. And so, sorry about that, I got distracted. And so what we want to do is we just want to provide a platform and the tools where users can meet in a market-like environment. And we don't tell users what they can or can't invest in, as well as we don't tell what the interest rate or how long of loan you have to have. We just kind of let the market decide that. And so that's kind of our goal, is that open finance idea.
That's great, Devon. And it's very interesting because BTCPOP is offering a wider variety of different services. Could you just touch on the main services you're providing, and then what is gaining traction the most right now and what's growing with the platform?
Yep. So the main services we provide, peer-to-peer lending is what we started out with. And then from that, we incorporated an altcoin exchange very early on. So at the time, it wasn't really anything. Ethereum wasn't even out. But from then, we've added on the main altcoins. And so when that happened, we've started doing staking way before that was popular, the proof of stake. And so we would stake coins for our users and then distribute the rewards into their wallet. And so also we noticed that there isn't a grading system or very good collections process for peer-to-peer loans. And so collateral was the main way that the industry does trust. And so we started offering collateral peer-to-peer loans using the altcoins, which kind of tie in with the exchange for the service. And so along with that, we did a little bit of cloud mining because the new owner was into that as well. And then bonds and the IPO are kind of an extension of that peer-to-peer lending idea.
That's really interesting. And you mentioned that the exchange part actually was around the time of Ethereum or before Ethereum. That's quite a while now. How long has the project been running for, and have you guys been developing this whole time?
Yep. So the project was originally started by a group in Britain, Lee Barthmal. I don't know how to say his name exactly. But anyway, that was started in late 2014, early 2015. Back in the days of BTC Jam and Bitcoin Lending Club. Back when Bitcoin was a small, tight-knit community and there wasn't really anything else, there wasn't that much to do with Bitcoin. And so peer-to-peer lending was a big, exciting thing, and everybody was excited to get into that. However, the industry kind of crashed and burned when the market started getting volatile. And so while that was happening, those exchanges were tightening restrictions and allowing less users and making it harder to do finance. And so BTCPOP came on as this free market where they would allow users to set their own terms and have a free market to do peer-to-peer lending. And then from there, it went good for a while. And then in 2016, the original team got in over their head. There was some coding bugs. And the new management stepped in June of 2016, took over the website, fixed the issues, replaced the missing balances. And from there, we've been building fresh ever since.
That's great. And what is the size of your team now, and where are they mainly located?
Yep, so our team is global. We don't have an office or anything like that. BTCPOP's always kind of went with the slow and steady wins the race mantra. And so our 3 developers, including the owner, are based out of Germany. And then our support staff and myself are based in the US here. But we also have a community of freelancers and just participants that help out as well with the website.
That's great. And on the exchange side, with your altcoin exchange, is anybody able to go and trade on the exchange? And is it similar to Binance, which a lot of traders are used to, or what are the differences there?
Yep. So anybody can sign up today at BTCPOP, deposit Bitcoin and start trading, and deposit Bitcoin or altcoins and start trading them on our exchange or peer-to-peer lending. It's going to be a little bit different than Binance in that our UI was made back in 2014. We're still using the same UI, even though we hauled the back end. So it's going to be a little bit more clumsy, and our volatility is obviously much, much lower. But that's the thing we're focused on, building a new exchange, new website, actually. And so then we're hoping to get a experience that's more like Binance with the higher liquidity, the faster trading, API, and then our features can build off of that with the new modern exchange.
That's great. And you guys normally make a cut off the transaction fees. Are you competitive with exchanges like Binance and Bittrex on trading fees?
Yep. So we do 0.25%, I think, which is pretty competitive for the industry. Like I said, we don't do a whole lot of volume now. We'll change up as we grow to be more competitive and kind of differentiate where we need to.
One thing that I'm also very interested in, because it's not something that's happening a lot in the space right now, is this IPO section that you guys have brought into BTCPOP. Is this IPO section for companies that are looking to raise debt or equity in traditional raises, and mainly for blockchain companies, or who is allowed to raise through there and who is allowed to participate?
Yep. So anybody can actually participate. And so we kind of view it more as an extension of peer-to-peer lending. So instead of a loan, you can have an idea and a project and kind of list your terms in a different way. And so when you're raising that capital, you then just get to a unique way to do it. It's not a securities or an ICO exchange or anything like that. It's just kind of a way to raise capital and then distribute that capital in shares, and then the shareholders can then trade it, as well as you can pay dividends and communicate with your investors. And so IPO is not the best word for it, but we have had some companies, but it's more users that have an idea that they kind of launch separate from their own personal lending account.
Okay, I understand. And out of the services that you guys are offering with the peer-to-peer lending, the IPO section, and the exchanges, are you guys focusing on all three of those sections as you continue to grow and marketing those, or where is the sweet spot with BTCPOP?
Yep. So right now we're really focusing on building a solid exchange. We kind of view that as a foundation that we can build on top of. With this solid exchange, collateral is our main form of trust right now, because there's not a credit system or anything like that. So while those systems are being developed, the more liquid our exchanges and less slippage we have on default liquidations, or as people enter and exit certain cryptocurrency positions, the better they can use our service for their financial needs. Because right now, for example, if you wanted to convert your Bitcoin loan into DAI and transfer it out of the exchange, you're going to deal with either a lot of time or a lot of slippage. If you do a trade like that. And so with the better exchange, you could do it seamlessly for a competitive fee and be a lot more competitive that way.
And as you continue to grow throughout 2019, are the developers mainly focused on redoing the front end of the exchange, or what does the development roadmap look like for the next 6 months?
Yep. So we've actually been building, and we ran into a little kind of a roadblock, you could say. We had a developer who worked for a year and didn't really get anything done. But beyond that, now that we got a new development team, we are working on a whole new BTCPOP 2.0, you could say. And so we have a lot of the pieces in place, so we're just kind of connecting them. And then we have to rebuild some of the important parts from scratch, which is taking, of course, longer than we anticipated. But it's a whole new website. It'll have the same features, and then that'll allow us to build more features on top. as well as that central exchange that we want to be a main focus point for the platform.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. And because my next question was, what obstacles or challenges do you foresee as you continue to grow? Now that you've settled the development, perhaps acquiring users or just expanding the team may be challenging as you continue to grow. Do you foresee that?
Yep. So competition in the space makes it a lot more challenging. I would say our biggest issue has been the volatility of cryptocurrency. So if you can imagine, you take out a Bitcoin loan and the price can move literally 10 to 20% in a day. Well, if you are not exposed one way or another, you're not a trader, you cash it out to buy a business equipment, well, that loan can get really expensive really quickly. And so we noticed that the defaults really went up when the price skyrocketed, as well as investors weren't that interested in investing when the price tanked. And so with the introduction, the good news is that there's stable coins and we're introducing them into our platform. And we think that'll get rid of that volatility issue. And from there, just overcoming, getting market share. It's kind of a complex, peer-to-peer lending is a little more complex than normal. You go to a bank, you talk to a bank and you get a loan. Well, at BTCPOP, you go to the website and then you kind of are on your own. You have to make an offering and the market will respond with whether they're going to fund that or not. So there's the learning curve, as well as there's the general cryptocurrency regulatory. If countries start banning Bitcoin, well, that's going to make Bitcoin finance or cryptocurrency finance a little bit more difficult for us.
Yeah, well, let's hope that doesn't happen in the near future here. So as you continue to grow, what are you in most need of for BTCPOP? Is it more investors, more strategic partners, or just more customers?
I would say right now, probably need the most is borrowers, or good borrowers. It seems like if you have a good idea and a good reputation or good collateral, there's more than enough funding for those people right now. Money finds a way to find good projects. And so right now it's just the demand for peer-to-peer loans is a lot lower, as well as so that's what I'd say. We probably just need more demand on that end. And then when we have a new exchange, traders and market makers and that sort of thing, which hopefully API and our own internal users can help jumpstart.
That's really interesting because when I had been reviewing similar platforms before, I was told that there was a need for lenders. So now that there is more of a demand for borrowers, at least that there are people with capital that are willing to lend it out in the industry. So it's an interesting paradigm shift.
Yeah, it really is. It started out where it was the opposite. Like you said, there was more than enough borrowers. But then all the investors currently on BTCPOP, we've kind of weathered the storm, saw the different platforms fall. And so we're very skeptical and we're not going to invest in a poor quality loan as a community. And so it's more competitive in that end. You have to have a better offering before you're even considered, relative to in the old days when people were just throwing out Bitcoin, 4 Bitcoin loans for no reason at all.
And if there are borrowers or people that are just interested in learning about the peer-to-peer lending or using the exchange, what is the best way for them to learn more information and get involved in BTCPOP?
Yep. So I would say the best way to learn is by doing. So go to btcpop.co, sign up, scroll around the website. It's a little intimidating at first. There's a lot of features. But if you kind of work your way through that, we also have a blog, social media, and a YouTube channel where I explain in detail some of the different services, features, and how they work. And so, the best way is you can hop on the chat in the main box once you sign in, and it's probably the best way to get started anyway.
Thank you very much, Devon. I'll leave those links in the description box below as well. That's all the time that we have for today, but best of luck in your ventures with BTCPOP, and let's follow up in the near future.
Sounds good. Thank you very much for having me.